The sun was hot in London that day. Hundreds of people stood outside Buckingham Palace. They all wanted to see the famous guards in their red coats and tall black hats. These guards were known for never moving, never talking, and never smiling while on duty. Jack Thompson was one of these guards. He was 25 years old. He had been a guard for 3 years now. Every day, he stood still for hours. His job was to protect the palace. But most of the time, nothing happened. Tourists just took photos with him. Jack stood at his post near the main gate. The wool uniform was very hot in the summer sun. Sweat ran down his back, but his face showed nothing. He was trained to stay still no matter what. His eyes looked straight ahead. His hands held his rifle tight. A big tour bus stopped near the palace. 50 people got off the bus. They were from many countries. They had cameras ready. A tour guide led them to the palace gates. She talked about the history of the palace and the guards. "These guards are part of the Queen's Guard," the tour guide said. "They are real soldiers. They train hard. Their job is very serious. Please do not touch them or try to make them laugh." In the crowd, there was a family from America. They had a little girl named Lily. She was 8 years old. This was her first trip to London. She was excited to see a real palace and real guards. Her father lifted her onto his shoulders so she could see better. "Look at him, Daddy," Lily said. "He's not moving at all. Is he real?" "Yes, honey," her father said. "He's a real person. He's just very good at his job." Near them was an old man named Mr. Roberts. He was 70 years old. He had come to London to see his son. Mr. Roberts was not feeling well that day. The heat was too much for him. He felt dizzy. He tried to find a place to sit down, but the crowd was too big. Jack saw the old man from the corner of his eye. He noticed that Mr. Roberts looked pale. His training told him to stay still. The rules were very clear. Guards do not move, but Jack could see that something was wrong. Mr. Roberts took one step and then fell to his knees. Nobody in the crowd noticed. They were all looking at the palace or taking photos. Only Jack saw what happened. Jack had a choice to make. Should he follow the rules and stay still, or should he help the old man? He had only seconds to decide. The old man fell forward. His face was about to hit the hard ground. Jack made his decision in that moment. He dropped his rifle and jumped forward. He caught Mr. Roberts just before his head hit the ground. The crowd gasped. They could not believe what they were seeing. A Buckingham Palace guard had moved. He had broken the most important rule. Little Lily pointed and shouted, "Daddy, the guard is moving. He's helping that man." Jack gently laid Mr. Roberts on the ground. He put him on his side. He checked to make sure the old man was breathing. Then he called out, "This man needs help. Is there a doctor here?" The crowd was silent. No one had ever heard a guard speak while on duty. This was a day they would never forget, and it was just the beginning of an amazing story. People stood frozen in shock. A guard had moved. This never happened. Jack knelt beside Mr. Roberts, who lay on the ground. The old man's eyes were closed. His breathing was weak. "Please, we need a doctor." Jack called again. His voice was firm but worried. His hand checked Mr. Roberts' pulse. It was fast and uneven. A woman pushed through the crowd. "I'm a nurse," she said. She had short brown hair and wore a blue dress. She knelt next to Jack and Mr. Roberts. "What happened?" she asked Jack. "He fell. I think he fainted from the heat," Jack said. He was breaking every rule of the Queen's Guard now, but he didn't care. A man's life was more important than rules. The nurse checked Mr. Roberts' eyes and pulse. "He's having a heat stroke," she said. "We need to get him to a cool place and call an ambulance." Jack nodded. He looked up and saw his captain coming toward him. Captain Williams was a strict man. He had been a guard for 15 years. He never broke rules. His face was red with anger as he walked up to Jack. "Private Thompson, "What are you doing?" Captain Williams shouted. Jack stood up straight. "Sir, this man is very sick. He needs help right away." Captain Williams looked at Mr. Roberts on the ground. The nurse was putting a wet cloth on his head. The old man's face was very pale. For a moment, no one knew what Captain Williams would do. Would he order Jack back to his post? Would he punish him for breaking the rules? Then Captain Williams did something surprising. He took off his tall black hat and knelt down beside Mr. Roberts. "I'll call the palace doctor," he said. He pulled out a radio from his pocket. Lily watched all this from her father's shoulders. "Daddy, the other guard is helping too," she said. "Yes," her father said. "Sometimes helping people is more important than following rules." The crowd began to move back to give them space. Some people took pictures. Others looked worried. A few even offered their water bottles to help cool Mr. Roberts down. In just 3 minutes, palace guards came with a stretcher. They lifted Mr. Roberts carefully and carried him inside the palace gates. The nurse went with them to keep helping. After they left, Jack picked up his rifle from the ground. He knew he might be in big trouble. Guards were never supposed to move or speak. He had done both. He might lose his job. Captain Williams came back to Jack. The crowd watched, waiting to see what would happen. Would Jack be punished for being a hero? Captain Williams looked at Jack for a long moment. Then he did something even more surprising. He smiled and put his hand on Jack's shoulder. "Well done, Thompson," he said. "You may have saved that man's life." Jack was surprised. "Thank you, sir," he said. "But what about the rules?" Captain Williams put his tall hat back on. "Rules are important," he said, "but people are more important than rules." The crowd cheered and clapped. Many people took pictures of Jack and Captain Williams. News reporters had arrived by now. They asked to talk to Jack, but Captain Williams said, "Not now. We have a job to do." Jack went back to his post. He stood straight and still again, like nothing had happened. But everything had changed. The people watching him now saw him differently. He wasn't just a guard in a red coat. He was a real person who cared enough to help someone in need. And as Lily and her family walked away, she said, "When I grow up, I want to be brave like that guard." The next morning, Jack woke up in the guards' living quarters. The room was filled with bunk beds. Other guards were getting dressed in their uniforms. Some of them looked at Jack with new respect. Others seemed unsure. "Morning, hero," said David, Jack's best friend in the guards. He was smiling as he put on his red coat. "I'm not a hero," Jack said. "I just did what anyone would do." "Not anyone," David said. "Most guards would have stayed still. The rules are clear." Jack nodded. He knew this was true. For hundreds of years, guards had been famous for never moving, no matter what happened. Some tourists tried to make them laugh or move. Guards had stayed still during rain, snow, and even when they felt sick. As Jack got dressed, another guard named Richard came up to him. Richard was older and had been a guard for 10 years. He had never broken a rule. "You know you might be in trouble," Richard said. "The Queen's Guard has traditions. You broke those traditions." "I know," Jack said, "but I would do it again." That man needed help. Before Richard could answer, a messenger came into the room. "Private Thompson," he said, "the captain wants to see you in his office right away." The room got quiet. Everyone knew this could be bad news for Jack. He might lose his job or be punished. Jack finished buttoning his red coat. He stood up straight, put on his tall black hat, and followed the messenger out of the room. David gave him a thumbs-up sign for good luck. Captain Williams' office was small but neat. There were pictures on the walls of past guards and royal events. The captain sat behind a desk, writing something on paper. He looked up when Jack came in. "Private Thompson," he said, "stand at ease." Jack relaxed his stance a little but still stood very straight. He didn't know what to expect. "Do you know why I called you here?" Captain Williams asked. "Yes, sir," Jack said. It's about yesterday when I moved from my post. Captain Williams nodded. That's right. In 300 years, no guard has ever left his post during duty, except to march in the changing of the guard ceremony. Jack felt his heart sink. He was going to be punished, maybe even sent away from the guards. However, Captain Williams continued, "The man you helped, Mr. Roberts, is alive because of what you did. The doctor said he had a serious heart problem along with heat stroke. If his head had hit the ground, or if he hadn't gotten help so quickly, he might have died." Jack was surprised. He hadn't known Mr. Roberts was that sick. "Sir, how is Mr. Roberts now?" Jack asked. "He's in the hospital. He's doing better," Captain Williams said. "His family is with him. They want to thank you." Then Captain Williams stood up. He walked around his desk and stood in front of Jack. "The palace has been getting calls and emails all night," he said. "People from around the world saw what you did. Someone took a video that's now on the news." Jack hadn't thought about that. He had only thought about helping Mr. Roberts. "Some people in the palace think you should be punished for breaking rules," Captain Williams said. "But others think you showed the true spirit of service that the guard is supposed to represent." Jack waited. This could go either way. Captain Williams smiled. "I agree with the second group. You showed courage and compassion. Those are qualities we want in our guards." Jack felt relief wash over him. He wasn't going to lose his job after all. "Thank you, sir," he said. "There's more," Captain Williams said. "The Queen has asked to meet you." Jack couldn't believe what he had just heard. The Queen wanted to meet him. His mind raced. Would she be angry? Would she thank him? What would he say to the Queen of England? "When?" Jack asked, his voice almost a whisper. "This afternoon at 3 o'clock, Captain Williams said. "You'll need your full ceremonial uniform. The best one, with all the buttons polished." Jack nodded. His hands felt cold with nervousness. Meeting the Queen was a big deal for anyone, but especially for a guard who had broken the rules. "Don't worry," Captain Williams said, seeing Jack's face. "The Queen isn't angry. She was actually quite impressed by what you did." Jack went back to the guards' quarters. He told David about the meeting with the Queen. "No way," David said. "That's amazing. No guard has met the Queen in private for years." Jack spent the next few hours getting ready. He polished every button on his red coat until they shined like mirrors. He cleaned his tall black hat. He made sure his black pants had perfect creases. At 2:30 p.m., a palace car came to take Jack to the Queen's private meeting room. As the car drove through the palace grounds, Jack looked out the window. Everything looked beautiful and perfect. The gardens were green and full of flowers. The palace walls were white and clean. The car stopped at a side door. A man in a black suit was waiting for Jack. "Private Thompson, I'm Robert, the Queen's secretary. Please follow me." Jack followed Robert through long hallways with paintings on the walls. They passed rooms with beautiful furniture and gold decorations. Finally, they stopped at a door with 2 guards standing outside. "Wait here," Robert said. "I'll tell the Queen you've arrived." Robert went inside. Jack stood still, like he did when he was on guard duty. The other 2 guards didn't move or speak, but they gave Jack small nods of respect. After a few minutes, Robert came back. "The Queen will see you now," he said. Jack took a deep breath and walked into the room. It was smaller than he expected. There were comfortable chairs and a table with tea things on it. And there, sitting in one of the chairs, was the Queen. She was smaller in person than she looked on TV. She wore a blue dress and had a kind smile. Jack bowed low, as he had been taught. "Private Thompson," the Queen said. "Please, sit down." Jack sat in the chair across from her. His back was straight, and his hands rested on his knees. "I've heard about what you did yesterday," the Queen said. "It was quite extraordinary." "Thank you, Your Majesty," Jack said. His voice was steady, even though his heart was beating fast. "You broke a very old tradition," the Queen continued. The guards have stood still at their posts for centuries. It's one of the things people expect when they visit the palace. Jack nodded. Yes, Your Majesty. I know the tradition is important. The Queen smiled. But you know what's more important than tradition? Human life. You saw someone in need, and you helped. That's the true spirit of service. Jack felt a weight lift from his shoulders. The Queen wasn't angry. She understood why he had done what he did. Mr. Roberts is recovering well, the Queen said. His family has written to thank you. They say you're a hero. I'm not a hero, Your Majesty, Jack said. I just did what seemed right. The Queen nodded. That's exactly what a hero would say. She picked up a small box from the table. I have something for you. She opened the box and took out a medal. It was gold with a red ribbon. This is the Royal Medal of Honor, she said. It's given to those who show exceptional bravery and service. I'd like you to have it. Jack was speechless. The Royal Medal of Honor was very rare. Only a few people received it each year. Thank you, Your Majesty, he finally said. I don't know what to say. You don't need to say anything, the Queen said. Your actions spoke for you. She pinned the medal on Jack's red coat. Then she stood up, which meant the meeting was over. Jack stood and bowed again. As he turned to leave, the Queen spoke once more. Private Thompson, she said. Sometimes the most important rules are the ones we feel in our hearts. The news about Jack's medal spread quickly. By that evening, his story was on TV channels around the world. People were calling him the Hero Guard, or the Guard with a Heart. His photo was on the front page of newspapers. Everyone was talking about what he had done. The next morning, when Jack went back to his guard duty, something had changed. The crowds outside Buckingham Palace were much bigger than usual. People had come from all over London just to see him. Some held signs that said, "Thank you, Jack," or "Heroes wear red coats." Jack stood at his post, still and straight as always, but he could hear people talking about him. That's him. That's the guard who saved the old man. I saw it on the news. He caught him just before he hit the ground. Look at the medal on his coat. The Queen gave him that. Children pointed at him. Parents took photos. For the first time, people weren't just seeing the guard in a red coat and tall black hat. They were seeing Jack Thompson, a real person who had made a choice to help someone. Around noon, a special visitor came to the palace. It was Lily, the little girl who had watched everything happen from her father's shoulders. She had brought a drawing she made of Jack helping Mr. Roberts. A palace worker took the drawing to give to Jack later. As the date went on, more people came. Some brought flowers or cards. Others just wanted to see Jack and take a picture. The palace had to put up extra barriers to keep the crowds in order. At the end of his shift, Jack marched away with the other guards. As soon as they were inside and out of public view, his fellow guards surrounded him. "You're famous now," David said, slapping Jack on the back. "More like notorious," Richard said, but he was smiling. No guard has ever gotten this much attention. Jack took off his tall hat and wiped sweat from his forehead. "I just want things to go back to normal," he said. But things would not go back to normal. Not yet. That night, Jack got a phone call from the hospital. Mr. Roberts wanted to see him. The old man was feeling better and would like to thank Jack in person. Jack didn't have to be on duty until the next afternoon, so he decided to visit the hospital in the morning. He went in his regular clothes, jeans, and a blue shirt, not his guard uniform. The hospital was big and busy. Nurses walked quickly down hallways. Doctors checked papers and talked in low voices. Jack asked at the front desk for Mr. Roberts' room. "Room 315. The woman at the desk said. Then she looked up and recognized Jack from the news. "Oh, you're the guard. Go right up." Jack took the elevator to the 3rd floor. He found room 315 and knocked softly on the door. "Come in," called a voice. Jack opened the door. Mr. Roberts was sitting up in bed. He looked much better than he had when Jack last saw him. His color was good, and his eyes were bright. Next to him sat a woman about his age, probably his wife. "Mr. Roberts," Jack said. "I'm Jack Thompson." The old man's face lit up with a big smile. "The young man who saved my life. Come in, come in." Jack walked into the room. He felt a bit shy. He wasn't used to being thanked. "This is my wife, Margaret," Mr. Roberts said. Margaret stood up and took Jack's hands in hers. "Thank you," she said. Her eyes were full of tears. "Thank you for saving my husband." "Please, sit down," Mr. Roberts said, pointing to a chair. Jack sat down. He looked at Mr. Roberts. "How are you feeling, sir?" "Much better, thanks to you," Mr. Roberts said. "The doctors say I had a heart attack and heat stroke at the same time. If my head had hit the ground when I fell, things could have been much worse." Jack nodded. "I'm glad I was there to help." "You didn't just help," Mr. Roberts said. "You broke the rules for me. You risked your job." "It was the right thing to do," Jack said simply. Margaret wiped tears from her eyes. "We've been married for 45 years, she said. "I don't know what I'd do without him." Mr. Roberts reached out and took Jack's hand. "I was a soldier myself, many years ago," he said. "I know what it means to follow orders. And I know what it means to do the right thing, even when it's not in the rule book." A week passed. Things at the palace began to calm down a little. There were still more tourists than usual, but the crowds weren't as big. Jack continued his duties as a guard. He stood still at his post, marched in the changing of the guard ceremony, and followed all the rules, except when someone needed help. Because something had changed at Buckingham Palace, Captain Williams had called a meeting with all the guards. He told them about a new rule. "From now on," he said, "guards may break position if someone is in danger. Human safety comes first. Tradition comes second." Many of the older guards were shocked. This change went against hundreds of years of tradition, but most of the younger guards agreed with the new rule. They had seen how Jack's actions had made people respect the guards more, not less. One morning, Jack was standing at his post when he saw a familiar face in the crowd. It was Lily, the little girl who had watched him save Mr. Roberts. She was with her parents again. They had come back to London just to see Jack before they went home to America. Lily waved at Jack. He couldn't wave back, of course. He was on duty. But he gave her the smallest nod, just enough for her to see. Her face lit up with a big smile. Later that day, Jack got a message. A TV news show wanted to interview him. They wanted to hear his story in his own words. Captain Williams said it was okay, as long as Jack didn't share any security details about the palace. The interview was set for the next day. Jack was nervous. He had never been on TV before, but David helped him practice what to say. "Just be yourself," David said. "Tell them what happened. Tell them why you did it." The next morning, Jack put on his full guard uniform. A car took him to the TV studio. There were bright lights and cameras everywhere. The interviewer was a friendly woman named Sarah. "So, Private Thompson," Sarah said when the cameras were rolling, "tell us what happened that day outside Buckingham Palace." Jack took a deep breath. "I was at my post," he said. "I saw an older man in the crowd. He looked sick. Then he started to fall. I knew if his head hit the ground, he could be badly hurt. So I moved to catch him." "But guards are famous for never moving," Sarah said. "You broke a rule that has existed for centuries." Jack nodded. "Yes, I did. But some things are more important than rules. A man's life was in danger. I couldn't just stand there and watch him get hurt." "What went through your mind at that moment?" Sarah asked. Jack thought about it. "Not much," he said honestly. "There wasn't time to think. I just knew I had to help. Any decent person would have done the same. But not every person was standing in your shoes, with centuries of tradition telling them to stay still," Sarah pointed out. "That's true," Jack said. "But in that moment, I wasn't just a guard. I was a human being seeing another human being in trouble. The interview continued for 20 minutes. Jack told the story of meeting the Queen and receiving the medal. He talked about visiting Mr. Roberts in the hospital, and he explained the new rule that allowed guards to help people in danger. So some good has come from this, Sarah said. The rules have changed. The rules have improved, Jack corrected her. Now they better match what the guard is really about, service and protection. As the interview ended, Sarah had one last question. What would you say to children who look up to you as a hero? Jack thought carefully before answering. I'd say that following rules is important. Rules help keep things fair and safe. But the most important rule is to be kind. If someone needs help and you can help them, that's what you should do. After the interview, Jack went back to the palace. He changed into his regular clothes and went for a walk in a nearby park. He needed some time alone to think. As he walked, a young woman approached him. She looked familiar, but Jack couldn't place her. "Excuse me," she said. "Are you Jack Thompson, the guard who saved my grandfather?" Now Jack recognized her. She was Mr. Roberts' granddaughter. He had seen her photo in the hospital room. "Yes," he said. "How is your grandfather doing?" "He's doing well," she said. "He's going home tomorrow. He asked me to give you this." She handed Jack an envelope. Inside was a letter from Mr. Roberts. Jack opened the envelope right there in the park. Inside was a handwritten letter. The writing was shaky but clear. "Dear Jack," the letter began. "I'm going home tomorrow. The doctors say I'm doing much better. My heart is stronger and I'm not dizzy anymore. I have you to thank for that. I've been thinking about what happened, about how close I came to serious injury or worse, and about how you broke the rules to help me. I want you to know what that meant to me. I'm 70 years old. I've lived a good life. I have 3 children and 5 grandchildren. I've seen a lot of changes in the world, some good, some bad. But what you did reminded me that the best things about people never change. Kindness, courage, doing the right thing even when it's hard. My granddaughter Emily, the one who gave you this letter, is studying to be a doctor. She wants to help people too. When she heard about what you did, she said it reminded her why she chose medicine. So your kindness is spreading like ripples in a pond. I don't know if I'll ever see you again, but I'll never forget you, Jack Thompson. In my eyes, you'll always be a hero. Not because you wear a fancy uniform or stand in front of a palace, but because when it mattered, you chose to be human first. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, which is now beating just fine. Your friend, George Roberts. Jack folded the letter and put it back in the envelope. He felt a lump in his throat. He hadn't expected to be so moved by Mr. Roberts' words. Emily was still standing there, waiting. "Grandfather really wanted you to have that," she said. "He wrote it himself, even though his hands shake a lot now." "Thank you for bringing it," Jack said. "It means a lot." Emily smiled. "He talks about you all the time. My guard, he calls you. He's shown your picture to everyone at the hospital." Jack laughed. "I'm not used to being famous." "Well, get used to it," Emily said. "People need heroes right now. Not the fake kind in movies. Real ones who make good choices when it matters." After Emily left, Jack continued his walk. The park was peaceful. Children played on the grass. Old couples sat on benches. People walked their dogs. Normal life going on all around him. Jack thought about how quickly things can change. One day he was just a guard, doing his job, following the rules. The next day, he was making a split-second decision that changed everything. When he got back to the guards' quarters, there was another surprise waiting. A large package had been delivered for him. Jack opened it carefully. Inside was a beautiful wooden box. When Jack opened the box, he found a gold watch. There was a note with it. "To Jack Thompson, whose timing was perfect, with thanks from the Roberts family." Jack showed the watch to David. "This is too much," he said. "I didn't help Mr. Roberts to get gifts." "I know you didn't," David said, "but let them thank you." It means a lot to them. The next day, Jack was back on duty. He stood at his post, tall and still. The sun was warm, but not as hot as that fateful day. The crowds were normal now. Some people recognized him, but many didn't. They just saw a guard in a red coat and tall black hat. Around noon, a tour group stopped near Jack's post. The tour guide was talking about the palace and the guards. "And this," the guide said, pointing to Jack, "is where something amazing happened 3 weeks ago. A guard named Jack Thompson broke centuries of tradition to save a man's life." The tourists looked at Jack with new interest. They took more photos than usual. "Is that the actual guard who did it?" someone asked. The tour guide looked at Jack. She couldn't tell for sure. All the guards looked similar in their uniforms. "I'm not sure," she said. "It might be." Jack kept his face still, showing nothing. But inside, he was smiling. He liked that the guide didn't know. It meant that any of the guards might do what he did. Any of them might choose to help someone in need. After his shift ended, Jack went to the palace cafeteria for lunch. As he ate his sandwich, Captain Williams sat down across from him. "Thompson," he said, "I have news." Jack put down his sandwich. "Yes, sir." "The palace has been getting letters," Captain Williams said. "Hundreds of them. From all over the world. All about you and what you did." Jack was surprised. "About me?" Captain Williams nodded. "People are inspired by your story. Schools are using it to teach children about making good choices. Other guards and police around the world are talking about it." Summer turned to fall. The leaves in London's parks changed from green to gold and red. The days got shorter and cooler. The crowds at Buckingham Palace were smaller now that tourist season was ending. Jack continued his duties as a guard. His life had slowly gotten back to normal. Fewer people recognized him. The news had moved on to other stories. But Jack had changed in ways that couldn't be seen from the outside. He stood straighter. He felt prouder of his uniform and what it meant. And he paid more attention to the people around him, always watching for anyone who might need help. One rainy October morning, Jack was off duty. He sat in a coffee shop near the palace, reading a newspaper. The bell over the door rang as someone came in. Jack looked up and saw a familiar face. It was Lily, the little girl who had watched him save Mr. Roberts. She was with her mother. They were wearing raincoats and shaking off umbrellas. Lily looked around the coffee shop and saw Jack. Her eyes got big, and she tugged on her mother's sleeve. "Mom, it's him, the hero guard," she said loudly. Jack smiled. He waved at Lily and her mother. They came over to his table. "Hello," Jack said. "I remember you. You were there that day." Lily nodded excitedly. "I saw everything. You moved super fast to catch that man." "Would you like to sit down?" Jack asked. Lily and her mother joined him at the table. Jack learned that they had moved to London. Lily's father got a job at a bank here. They had been living in London for a month now. "Lily talks about you all the time," her mother said. "She says she wants to be brave like you when she grows up." Jack felt his face get warm. "I'm not that brave," he said. "I just did what seemed right." "That's what brave means," Lily said, very seriously. "Doing the right thing even when it's hard." Jack couldn't argue with that. They talked for a while about life in London and what Lily thought of her new school. Then Lily asked a question that surprised Jack. "Do you ever see the man you saved, Mr. Roberts?" "Not recently," Jack said, "but I got a letter from him. He's doing well." "That's good," Lily said. She took a sip of her hot chocolate. "You know what I think? I think you were meant to be there that day, to save him." "Maybe," Jack said, "or maybe it was just luck." "I don't think so," Lily said. "Things happen for a reason." After Lily and her mother left, Jack thought about what she had said. Was he meant to be there that day? Was it fate or just chance that put him at that spot, at that time, to help Mr. Roberts? He didn't know the answer. but he was glad he had been there. The next day, Jack got a call from Captain Williams. "Thompson," he said, "the palace has a special assignment for you." Jack was puzzled. "What kind of assignment, sir?" "The Queen is starting a new program," Captain Williams explained. "It's called Guards Who Care. It's about teaching young guards to balance tradition with compassion. She wants you to help lead it." Jack was stunned. "Me, sir? But I'm not a teacher." "You taught everyone a lesson that day," Captain Williams said. "Now the Queen wants you to share that lesson with others." The program would mean less time on guard duty and more time teaching and speaking to new guards. Jack would help them understand that while traditions were important, the true purpose of the guard was to protect and serve people. Jack thought about it overnight. The next morning, he told Captain Williams he would do it. 2 weeks later, Jack stood in front of 20 new guards. They were young men and women who had just finished their basic training. Now they would learn what it really meant to be a Queen's Guard. "Welcome to your final phase of training," Jack said. "My name is Jack Thompson." He saw recognition in their eyes. They all knew his story. "You've learned how to stand still for hours," Jack continued. "You've learned how to march perfectly. You've learned all the traditions and rules of the Queen's Guard. Those things are important. But today we're going to talk about something more important." Jack paced in front of them. "We're going to talk about why we do what we do, why we stand guard, why traditions matter, and when it's right to break those traditions." One of the new guards raised a hand. "Sir, is this about what you did when you saved that man?" Jack nodded. "Partly. But it's about more than that. It's about understanding that the uniform doesn't change who you are inside. You're still a person. You still have to make choices, and sometimes the hardest choice is knowing when to be a guard and when to be a human." For the next 4 hours, Jack talked with the new guards. He told them about Mr. Roberts. He told them about the Queen's Medal of Honor. He shared the letter Mr. Roberts had written to him. But mostly, he listened. He heard their questions and concerns. He learned what they thought it meant to be a guard. And he tried to help them see that the greatest service they could provide was to remember the human beings behind the tradition. At the end of the day, one of the new guards, a young woman named Sarah, stayed behind. "Private Thompson," she said, "I joined the Guard because I wanted to be part of something important, something with history. But after today, I see it.